So we are drafting a basic top, and the measurements we need are the full length of the top. You need the shoulder to the bust point or nipple line. Then you need the front length and the back length. To get the front and back length, just tie something around your waist. Then measure from shoulder to the front waist and shoulder to the back waist. You get your front and back length. Okay, then the horizontal measurements are the round bust, around your waist, around your hip, then your shoulder. So to get this box that we have here, what you need to do is your biggest round measurement or horizontal measurement, divide it by 2 and add 0.5 to it. Then you get this box. Okay, you get the width of the box. The length of the box is the length of your top, where your top wants to end. You put it as the length. And the next thing you need to do now is just to divide the box into 2. So I'm folding my tape into 2 and I'm placing it there. Just fold your tape into 2, place it to get half of the box. I'm taking it in 3 different places just to have a straight line. So when I divide the box into 2, it will give me the front block and the back block. So we are going to be drafting both the front and the back block together. So this is me now joining the point to divide the box. So after joining the point, the next thing we need to do is to start imputing our measurements. So that's your center front and this is your center back. That means the middle of your back and middle of your front. Okay, so now I'm putting the shoulder measurement. Your shoulder measurement divided by 2. Come down by 1 inch for the front. Then for the neck, that's the neck, 3 by 3. Okay, so I'm going to use my ruler to join the neckline, which is 3 inches by 3 inches. Okay, then I'll create a slant to that 1 inch that went down by to get our shoulder slant. Our shoulders are not straight. So for the back shoulder, then I came down by 1 inch. Okay, then the neck is 3 by 1. So you see how I'll do it. I'll just join the 3 by 1 inch point for the back, and then I'll slant to the half an inch that we did for the back. The reason why the front is 1 and the back is half is because we want the shoulder, when you sew it, to come to the front a little bit, to lap towards the front a little bit. So now we want to get the armhole depth. To get the armhole depth, just do your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. Okay, so that gives you your armhole. That's the line right there. Bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5 will give you that. Okay, so those measurements I'm taking is just because I want the armhole depth to be straight as the shoulder. Okay, so next I'm going to draw a straight line across where the armhole depth stopped. That is going to be our chest line. So if you see where your armpit stops, that's where your chest begins. Okay, so on the armhole depth now, I'm dividing the armhole depth by 2 and going in by 0.5. Okay, so now on that chest line, I'm going to do my bust measurement divided by 4 and place it there. Then I'll use my curve to join all those points from the shoulder there through that 1.5 mark, shoulder 1.5 mark to the bust. Can you see? So we have our armhole. For the front, go up by 2 inch, go inwards by 0.75 inches. Okay, and then place your bust measurement on the chest line. That's bust divided by 4. Now join the point. So I'll start from the tip of the shoulder and then draw my line all the way to the 0.75 measurement and to the bust, where the bust is going to stop. So that's our armhole for the front. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is to get our bust line or nipple line. So whatever you got from your shoulder to your nipple line, mark it on the front block. So this is me marking it on the front block, and joining it. So this will serve as my nipple line or my bust line. So after getting that line, I'm just putting my markings, so that the SL means start point line and BL means bust line. Okay, next I want to get my front waist, front length. Remember how we measured it, right? From your shoulder to the waist in front. Okay, so that's the value that I just imputed there. All right, the front is usually longer than the back because of the bust. So this is my back waist that I'm imputing there, 13.5, and then I'll mark it. So the waist, shoulder, from shoulder to the waist of the front is longer than shoulder to the waist of the back using this technique. Now take the difference. I have a difference of 1.5. So I'll move it downwards because everything is now going to affect the length of the back. The length of the back is going to be shorter by that difference, 1.5. Okay, so that's the line I just drew. So the next thing we need to do now is to get our dart. So to get your dart, get your nipple to your nipple measurement divided by 2. For me, it's 4. So I've marked it on the nipple line, the waistline, and the hip line, and I'm joining it like that to get my dart line or my dart leg. So on the waistline, WL, the waistline, I'll just open up the dart by half inch on both sides, and then I'll just take from the shoulder to 22 to get the length of my dart, where I want my dart to stop. Okay, then I'll join the point to that 22 like that, and then join it upwards to my 1 point inch. So come down by 1 inch from the nipple line, then join it like that to that point where you came down by 1 inch. So we have our front dart. So for the back dart, you also place your 4 on the chest line, on the waistline, and on the hip line. Then you draw your dart leg. But to get your dart leg, you need to know your dart length. So from the shoulder line to 22, I'll just mark it. That is where my dart is going to stop. So I'll just join it to that point. Okay, then I'll come down from the chest line by 1 and then open up the dart half. Okay, then I'll join it to that 1 inch that we came down by. Join both sides. Then I'll join this to the end of my dart, which is marked already. So we have our front dart and our back dart. Now we want to do our back tightening, but before we do the back tightening, I just put the names of the lines. Come in by 0.5 inch. Okay, that is 50% back tightening. If I went in by 1 inch, it is 100% back tightening. This will prevent that puff. When you fix your zip, that puff that gathers at the back, that prevents it. Okay, so now we are going to just be imputing all the measurement. That is your waist divided by 4 plus that, 1 inch for that. Okay, so that's how you get your waist measurement. For your hip, the dart didn't get to the hip, so you are just going to do your hip measurement divided by 4, and you will join the point like that. So you join it to the waist, from bust to waist for the front, and from bust to waist for the back. Okay, then from the waist you join to the hip line for the back, and then from the waist you join to the hip line for the front. And so you can see our top is beginning to come out perfectly. So now after joining those points, take the difference between the front waist and the back waist, transfer it to the nipple line and mark. Okay, then join that point all the way to the nipple point there where you have your dart leg, just the way I did it. So by the time we close that dart that we just made there, everything will be equal. We are transferring that dart to the shoulder. So divide your shoulder into 2 and do a straight line all the way to the bust point. So this is a little bit of dart manipulation. You will learn that very well in the master class. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to cut off so that we can work more on the pattern. So this is me cutting off all the parts that we have drafted. After cutting it off, all we need to do is to close that bust that we just created, and then your front block and your back block will become equal. So don't worry and say, oh, is it going to be equal? Yes, it's going to be equal, and I'm going to show you. So just cut off, use your scissors to cut out just the way you drafted. So this is me cutting it, still cutting. Okay, so that's the back tightening. It prevents that folding of your zip or puffing out of the zip. When you fix it, everything will lay flat on your back the way you like it. So after cutting off, I'll just take it away, and then I will open up the shoulder that line that we did at the middle of the shoulder. I'll just open it up and transfer the bust dart to the shoulder. Okay, so that's me opening it up. Then just fold that line and move it to the nipple point line. That line that we did, just fold it inwards that way, and use your paper tape to hold it down. When you fold it, use your paper tape to hold it down. Okay, so that's it. That bust dart, can you see that the shoulder is now open? So you have successfully transferred that bust dart to the shoulder. It's a form of that manipulation. Just adjust it, just cut off that excess that is not aligning. Can you see now? Everything is equal. So there is no difference anymore because you have closed the difference. If you don't want the down of your top to look straight like that, all you need to do is just shape it. Just shape it to the dart before the dart. Don't cross the dart. Shape it to the dart point like that, and there you have it. Okay, so we have successfully drafted our